Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Commissioner Peters, and I want to thank everyone for being here today. We're here today to announce the results of a long-term investigation that uncovered very disturbing and potentially a dangerous infiltration of a public utility, National Grid, which provides gas service here in Brooklyn. We allege that a former employee and a small but corrupt group of employees within National Grid literally formed their own shadow utility. For pure greed, they operated a criminal scheme that had no concern for safety rules and regulations. This criminal enterprise was responsible for illegally supplying gas to buildings without prior Department of Building approval and without the required inspections having been completed. This is a case, an unprecedented case, in our opinion, showing that the hot real estate market in Brooklyn serves to feed criminal activity. For a price, typically $1,500, a landlord who wanted to save time and money in order to get his apartment rented as soon as possible would turn to this rogue group led by a former National Grid employee. He's there on top, Weldon Al Finley. He would have these gas meters installed, but these meters were installed in complete violation of New York City Department of Building regulations and National Grid safety protocols. The protocols required that installation of gas lines be conducted and performed by a master plumber, a licensed master plumber, and that safety inspections to check for leaks before gas service could be turned on were done. Shockingly, these procedures were completely bypassed and gas service was provided. Today, we charge 37 defendants on multiple indictments and felony complaints. One of the indictments charges Finley and 6 others, including 3 National Grid employees with enterprise corruption. That's a B felony that carries up to 25 years in prison. Others arrested in this case include landlords, property managers, contractors, and an additional 4 National Grid employees, and they're being charged with falsifying business records, tampering, and bribery. We allege that between January and June of 2016, these defendants, at Finley's direction, operated a criminal enterprise that accepted cash for illegal installation of gas meters in 33 residential buildings in Brooklyn and some in Queens. This group infiltrated a public utility and threatened the well-being of unsuspecting Brooklyn residents in an effort to line their own pockets. They bypassed and disregarded the protocols that are designed to ensure our safety. This corruption within a major company is particularly alarming, given the potential lethal nature and consequences of unsafe gas installations. We have found during the course of the investigation that when a landlord, either with a newly constructed building or a rehabbing of a building, is looking for a shortcut because they don't want to pay for either a licensed master plumber to do the installation, or they don't want to wait to bother for the Department of Buildings for the prior approvals or the inspections to happen, or simply that they want to take shortcuts in having someone overlook safety issues, that they would hire Finley to install these gas meters. And based on physical and electronic surveillance, including phone conversations we intercepted and text messages that we've seen. We allege that these property managers would contact Finley, provide an address where they wanted the illegal gas meters to be installed. Finley would text back a price, and it ranged from $1,300 to $2,500, with the average being around $1,500. And the motion would be set in place. The scheme would be set in place. It was a relatively simple scheme, but it was very lucrative for the people who were participating in it. Finley texted the information to Phoebe Bogan. You see her right down there. She's a veteran National Grid employee. She works as a customer service representative. She worked, I should say. And she was right across the street in the main office. She then allegedly opened or modified an account where the gas meter was to be installed. She did this even when she knew that the residence was not approved for gas service. Sometimes, and we've seen this in text, she would text back to Finley saying, there's no prior authorization for gas. Nonetheless, she dispatched specific National Grid employees, you see two of them on the bottom there, to install these gas meters. They would go, they would install the meters, and shortly thereafter, gas service would be turned on. And so for pure greed, a gas meter was put in place without any assurances of the quality of work, without any inspection being conducted, and gas would flow at that residence. Now, I'd like to play some of the wiretap recordings that illustrate the scheme. In this one case, you can hear Finley describe the workings of his enterprise. Can we play the wiretap?
Hello?
Hey, it's David.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What can I do? What can I do to meet you? Tell me.
I'm going down to Classen and Myrtle Avenue in a little while. Oh, I see somebody right behind. If you want, we can meet over there. Wait, what do we meet? What do we meeting for?
Discussing this.
Discussing what? You know, discussing what? You want it? Yes or no? It's on the discuss.
Hey.
You want it? Yes or no? All right, we already gave you a price.
I want it.
So what's the hold up? You could have got it a long time ago. You're wasting time. Discussing what?
I want it. I want it, but I need to understand what I'm doing. I need to understand.
There's nothing. What you're doing is you're getting a meter. That's what you're doing. You're getting a box. Everything. You're getting an account. You're getting all this other stuff. What are we meeting for?
I don't have gas to. I don't have gas.
You don't need it. You do not need it. You do not need gas authorization.
That's what I want to understand.
It shows that there was one there, but somehow it's gone. I'm going to take it out the system and give you a new one. What's the big? What's all of this crazy shit?
Now you're talking.
You're crazy.
Whatever.
You're crazy.
As you've heard, at first the landlord asked for clarification on how the scheme works. And you can hear Finley describe exactly how it works. What you're doing here is you're getting a meter. You're getting a box, everything. You're getting an account. You're getting all this other stuff. The landlord replies, I don't have gas authorization. And Finley answers, you don't need it. You do not need it. You do not need gas authorization. He is showing complete contempt for the regulations that are in place to protect our safety. And it's clear that he understood, both of them understood, that what they were doing was wrong. I'd like to play a second wiretap where you're going to hear another landlord discuss Phoebe Bogan, who apparently became nervous at some point after a stop work order was placed on the property, delaying the illegal meter installation. Take a listen on how this landlord proposes fixing the problem of getting Phoebe Bogan to dispatch the technicians. Can you play this?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
We are standing.
What's that?
Did you got the fax, the text?
Yeah, I got the text. I got your text.
So what time is it coming?
I don't know yet. I'm still talking to her about doing the job. The whole stop work orders got her nervous. That's
Tell
the
her
thing.
that I have special medication for that.
Oh, I hope you do. Whatever it is.
No, I have special medication.
I hope so too. I hope you do.
You know what the medication is?
I have no idea. What is it?
I tell you right away. Do you know the Franklin? Did you ever know about President Franklin? Benjamin Franklin? Okay.
Oh, you're crazy.
I know I'm crazy. What's up with you, Stone?
Listen, no, let me work on her. As soon as I hear something, I'll call you.
But it's still going to be today?
What's that?
It's still going to be today?
I don't know if it's going to be today. I'm being honest with you. I don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow, but I'm working on trying to get her to do it. She leaves at 3:30, which is in like the next hour.
Okay, please call me back soon, yeah, please.
When they're discussing Franklin, this is not some reference to the Broadway show Hamilton or some American history conversation. It's clear to everyone that what they're discussing is a bribe. These defendants knew what they were doing were illegal, and they were set on doing it. It's that clear in these wiretaps and these text messages that people were bypassing the safety protocols that are there to protect all of us in order to make a quick buck, both on the group of national employee workers and the landlords who want to quickly be able to rent out and finish their projects. Now, I want everyone to know that during the course of the investigation, the building department and National Grid inspected every property and made sure that the gas services were being provided safely. That was only possible because we were on to the criminal scheme. But I can assure you that we will never stop fighting to keep all Brooklyn residents safe. We cannot and will not ignore these types of bribery schemes and public corruption cases. Those who engage in these schemes show utter disregard for the safety of every person living and working in this great borough. As Brooklyn continues to grow, we will not let anyone trade safety for their own personal profit. I want to thank Commissioner Mark Peters and the Department of Investigation, which brought this case to our office, and he'll be able to explain how the scheme worked in greater detail. But special thanks to his investigators who spent many, many hours working on this case. I'd also like to thank Michael Spanakos. He's the chief of our Public Integrity Bureau at the DA's office, which is dedicated to rooting out corruption and bribery. And I'd like to thank my assistants who also worked very hard to put this case together. Commissioner Peters, thank you for being here, and I welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Acting District Attorney Eric Gonzalez and his team of dedicated prosecutors, especially Chief of Investigations William Schaefer, Deputy Chief of Investigations Division Patricia McNeil, and Chief of the Public Integrity Bureau Michael Spanakos. I also want to thank the hardworking investigators at DOI who found the leads and followed each one to uncover the illegal schemes outlined in these indictments. In particular, Renee Hassel, a DOI attorney who's been assigned to the District Attorney's Public Integrity Bureau, Chief Investigator James McGillicuddy, Assistant Inspectors General Noah Moni and Michael Antolini. Michael's here. There he is. Deputy Inspector General Ed Zinzer, Inspector General Greg Cho, Associate Commissioner Jay Flaherty, Deputy Commissioner and Chief of Investigations Mike Carroll, and my first deputy Leslie Brovner, who are both up here with me. These 36 arrests represent an intersection of old school detective work enhanced by DOI's in-depth knowledge about how corruption can subvert building safety procedures and protocols. In this case, protocols set by the city's construction code. A phone call became the breakthrough for this investigation. That call between a former National Grid employee and an unregistered expediter was picked up on a wiretap that DOI was monitoring as part of a separate investigation with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. That investigation exposed widespread bribery schemes perpetrated by employees of the Department of Buildings and Housing Preservation and Development, and building managers, contractors, and expediters. And to date, that investigation has led to 45 convictions, including 16 city employees. But a fundamental part of DOI's expertise is understanding how individuals try to manipulate the city's building code system for their own profit. And while we were listening to calls involved in this other case involving those other defendants, in that widespread bribery case, we heard one of today's defendants, who you just heard a few minutes ago, Weldon Al Finley, discuss the illegal installation of a gas meter with an unlicensed expediter. The conversation raised questions because they discussed a price for the installation of a gas meter, a $1,500 price, and discussed a, quote, girl in the office, close quote. Both mentions, that of a price for the installation and the need for, quote, a girl in the office, raised questions and exposed potential improprieties. DOI set off to discover what they were. Going over Finley's phone records, DOI investigators noticed a pattern. Finley registered several thousand calls in a 12-month period to a single phone number. Using social media, investigators were able to determine that that number belonged to Phoebe Bogan, who you also heard the district attorney reference. Bogan's public social media tracks led to even more connections. She was a customer service representative at Finley's former employer, National Grid. Working hand in hand with acting District Attorney Gonzalez and his team, the investigation also uncovered relevant and interesting background on Finley, specifically that National Grid itself had investigated Finley for unauthorized installation of gas meters, and our investigation found that ultimately Finley was terminated from the company for time and leave abuses. Searching through Bogan's financials, investigators discovered unexplained cash deposits into her personal bank accounts. Like working on a puzzle, investigators began putting together the scheme, piece by piece, fact by fact, through surveillance, wiretaps, witness interviews, and through the execution of dozens of search warrants, exposing a network of unlicensed plumbers, unscrupulous property owners, and National Grid employees, all working together to bypass building regulations for thousands of dollars in cash payments as charged in the indictments and the criminal complaints. All told, our investigators working with the acting district attorney our investigation shows we believe hundreds of thousands of dollars exchanged hands over the course of the alleged conduct. The scheme, though technical, wasn't complicated. It centered on the regulations and responsibilities involving the installation of gas meters. I think, do we have a slide? Yeah, there we go. The proper process consists of a licensed master plumber filing with DOB a work permit to permit work on the property and submission of plans. Once DOB approves, the plumber can go ahead with the work, and DOB, the Department of Buildings, inspects and tests the completed work and provides gas authorization for the site. Once gas authorization is obtained, a National Grid employee is responsible for installing a utility meter, and gas service begins at the property. But the scheme these defendants were running cut out critical steps, and I think we've got there you go. You can see the steps that are being removed. And so they cut out critical steps, creating the potential for major safety issues and compromising the integrity of the system that delivers gas and delivers it safely. As charged, the defendants bypassed using a licensed master plumber to do the work, did not file permits with DOB, completed the work without having it inspected, and did not obtain a gas authorization for having a meter installed. Pipes were never tested by a licensed master plumber or a DOB inspector. In 2 cases, the defendants actually got National Grid to staff to come and crack sidewalks for them so that they could lay improper piping, all in furtherance of their corrupt scheme. And let's be clear about how dangerous this can be. In March 2015, after a different group of defendants skirted rules related to gas installations, there was an explosion on 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. 2 people died that day. Here, working with the district attorney's office, we made DOB and National Grid aware of all the properties connected to this investigation so that they could respond appropriately, and each of the properties was re-inspected. Before finishing, I need to make a statement about public safety in the construction industry and the Department of Investigation's actions going forward from today. New York City is going through a construction boom. That's good for the city, good for workers, good for the economy. But with that boom, we have seen a troubling increase in corruption. Bribed building inspectors, general contractors failing to adhere to safety rules, and now all of this. As a result of this investigation, DOI has issued a report today, which we will make available to all of you, that describes in detail the shadow utility that occurred here and lists the changes needed at National Grid to ensure that gas power is delivered safely to the city. If National Grid makes these changes swiftly, they will deserve the trust necessary to continue as a public utility. If they do not, my office will meet with their regulator, the Public Service Commission, and will insist on necessary government intervention in their operations to keep New Yorkers safe. As we have in the past, DOI will not permit any construction-related entity to operate in New York in a way that puts our citizens in danger. No company, no matter how large and well-funded, is exempt from that rule in our city. I want to close by again thanking Acting District Attorney Gonzalez and his team for tackling this large, complex case and for adding to the safety of all New Yorkers. Thank you.